Wayne is straightforward, honest.
A diamond in the rough is a good description of Wayne.
When you hear the term, someone wrote the book, Wayne Chipman did in fact write the book when it comes to our offshore regulations.
I first met Wayne in Calgary, actually. He was out there looking to recruit people to the petroleum director. He impressed me. I knew him before from engineering, so I was looking to move back to Newfoundland. So I came back in late '84, and I worked with the petroleum directorate under Wayne.
I met Wayne Chipman when he was a regulator and I was working for one of the companies here in town. I think with Wayne Chipman, what struck me was that he wasn't just thinking about the now, he was thinking downwind, so to speak.
Well, I first met Wayne when we went down to the Offshore Petroleum Board to report as chairman in May of 1998. Wayne wasn't there at the day I went into the office, and they took me around and introduced me to the staff. And then they said, "This is Wayne's office here," and it was an office that was lined with mountains of paper, desk covered with reams of paper, and a small space for someone to sit in and do their work.
Wayne Chipman, like most Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, has a homing beacon, and he was one of those first people way back in the infancy of our industry to recognize the competence that he had in his education and in his skills that he acquired with these companies that could be applied to our emerging oil and gas industry.
Anybody who worked in the oil patch back then was pretty much came out of Alberta. So to have that Newfoundland flavor and the fact that you know, we all had a stake in the province, it was important that people basically come from Newfoundland, but also have the depth and knowledge of experience that came from working in the industry.
So Wayne and them came back here, and they set up the Petroleum Directorate with the idea of administering the offshore at that time, of course, prior to all the constitutional discussions about who owned it.
Newfoundland and Labrador at the time was in many negotiations and many instances where it needed to understand what its potential would be. You need to understand what's the resource, what's the potential, and that group was very pivotal because it was the group which brought forward all the technical information for the benefit of the Newfoundland and Labrador side, and then ultimately Canada when it came to formalizing some of those very first regulations.
It was Wayne's responsibility as Reservoir Department head to review development plan applications. And that was done over the course of his term with the board in respect of the Hibernia field, the Turnover field, and the White Rose field.
In the period of time from '86 until the '90s, when the offshore projects started coming and Hibernia arrived with a development plan and then moved on from there, Wayne and the staff had developed a tremendous knowledge of the offshore geology in Newfoundland. And there were a few people, I think, in the companies or anywhere who had a better understanding of the overall offshore area in Newfoundland than Wayne and his staff did.
And essentially it was maximize hydrocarbon recovery for basically the people of this province.
Regulation in any viable and sustaining industry is preeminent, and with Wayne Chipman, he was there on the ground floor. He was hand to pen with a team, but largely leading a team in the latter years with the CNOPB in drafting the fundamental guidelines and regulations.
Well, the role of the regulator is not well understood generally in the public at large, but I think you can probably best sum it up by saying that the role of the regulator is to ensure there's no waste. And waste in developing the oil and gas resources, and waste in the sense that there's no oil left in the ground, that you maximize recovery, that you don't you don't get into high grading and those kinds of activities in developing the resources. So they're the watchdog in the public interest to ensure that the maximum amount of that resource is recovered.
Wayne Chipman is one of the very few people in Newfoundland and Labrador who can claim to have participated in, influenced, and added value to every oil and gas project that we have here in our offshore. And not only in a small way, but in a very direct and measurable and felt way.
No bias, no hidden agenda. It's basically good oil field practice. That's what we expect, and that's what Wayne would look for.
Wayne Chipman maybe as a regulator, just like a good ice hockey official, the best ones you hardly see, may be one of those unsung heroes that we have in our regulatory world. Personally, Wayne Chipman was a very close mentor since we were fortunate to have Wayne join our team in 2007 until his retirement. And I can just think about an instance during the Hebron negotiations. We were 3 months in a hotel in Toronto, locked in. I think the 12-person Newfoundland and Labrador negotiating team, its average age might have been only 35. And in fact, I think half of us had kindergarten-age kids. And it was very stressful being away from home for that length of time. But Wayne Chipman, he was the father figure to many, and he provided a lot of comfort and confidence and enabled us to see through some difficult times.
Wayne was a great mentor. We used to sit and talk a lot, some arguments, but talking a lot. And over the years, I mean, a lot of staff passed through the resource management department of the board.
So Wayne's got a lot of people who came through his organization who are now working with industry throughout the province and throughout the world. And he was very dedicated to ensuring that these young people had a real opportunity.
Wayne used to tell me some of his biggest joys actually were after recruiting and attracting high talent to the petroleum directorate in the early days of the CNLOPB. Invariably, as the industry grew, these folks of high caliber under Wayne's tutelage would sometimes be hired off. But you know, he had some satisfaction in knowing that at least these companies, these world-class companies, were getting Newfoundland and Labrador engineers and geoscientists of the top level, and he had a role in it.
I think if you went out and looked for some of his disciples, they're still around.
It's a testimony to their skill set, but it's also a tribute to Wayne.
When Nalcor was formed and given the opportunity to participate in oil and gas activities through legislative change and through the 2007 energy plan, Wayne Chipman was hired just in advance of that energy plan being released in the summer of 2007. As the first employee of the oil and gas division, other than myself.
Wayne would have been instrumental in the setting up of Nalcor. When he first left the board, he went to Newfoundland Hydro.
We set about together to design an organization and create a strategy that takes us to where we are today, some 6 years later. And I think and Wayne should take great satisfaction that all the targets and all the accomplishments that we set out to achieve in such an aggressive way have largely been met.
Family and friends were everything to Wayne.
Wayne was a very personable individual. You didn't know Wayne for very long before you started talking about fishing and hunting. And
Wayne has a passion for all things Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, I mean, Wayne loved the outdoors. That was his escape, really.
There was one occasion when he tried to load his new quad in the back of his pickup truck, and there weren't too many witnesses around, but the end result was that the quad was up on the cab of the truck, not in the back.
I know one guy in particular was lucky enough to see Wayne catch fire to himself as he sat too close to the campfire.
you didn't have to talk to Wayne very long before you knew that what he was saying to you was really what he meant.
He is an elder statesman, and an elder statesman in this industry with keen knowledge and insight. Wayne has this very approachable stance, yet in a way he can make sure he's heard and his ideas are properly conveyed.
One other thing he had a large part in was the development of small fields and/or satellite tiebacks, and we're seeing the benefits of that 5 years later.
And he's a great listener. And anyone who knows true leaders are people who can both convey and influence, but listen. And Wayne Chipman, you had a full understanding that you had his absolute attention when you were speaking. And that's a rare commodity, and that's highly respected by all that who know Wayne. Wayne, congratulations. This is a great award. It's a great night. I know you and Phyllis and the boys will be very happy. We're thrilled for you here at Nalcor Energy, and we wish the best.
I consider you my friend, and I'd like to congratulate you on being awarded Noia's 2013 Outstanding Contribution Award. You're very deserving of it. I wish you well, and I wish you and Phyllis all the best as you plan your retirement.
I want to present my personal congratulations to you, Wayne. I think Noia has shown tremendous wisdom in recognizing your contribution that you have made to the offshore oil and gas industry. It has been significant, and it has been lasting, and it will last. And the people of this province, many of whom really and can't be expected to have an understanding of it, the people of this province will benefit from the work that you've done for many, many years to come, and you should be very proud of that.